What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Align of the Stars. I'm Jordan, and we're back today with another episode of the Eagle Moss Enterprise from Fanhome. And, I keep saying, like as we get to the meat of these builds, like we're really in the middle of everything except for Kit, which is on a bit of a delay, and it continues to be on a delay. I paid for the next stage, but well, my friends, I've reached that point with Fanhome where I paid for a stage that I'm not going to get, or a shipment that I'm not going to get, and I really don't care. But I'm just like, I was really looking forward to getting the parts. I'm only like, I think I'm waiting for package number 5 or 6, and so I'm just at the beginning of that. But with the Enterprise and the Millennium Falcon, like it is in the heart of these builds. And I'm getting towards stage 50 here. I've just passed stage 50 on the Falcon. Um, a lot of work has been done. And I would say that this is a milestone episode because, we're installing our next saucer PCB. But they can't all be winners, can they? And they can't all be milestone episodes as well. So that's one of the things that I'm really thinking about, and just trying to control my language a little bit because I'm like, oh God, this is so cool. Look at this. I got my PCB and I get to light it up, and oh my God, just, and it's a milestone, guys. Oh my God. Really, it's just going to be assembling 2 hull panels and putting this PCB in place and then hooking it up real quick. And it is going to be kind of cool because we are going to be able to see all the hull panels lit up for the first time. We've seen it all, but up to this point now, we've done quite a few hull panels since the last time we lit up the main saucer. So let's go ahead and get into the build today. And we're going to start today with stage 45, and then we're going to move on to stage 46, but we're not going to be doing everything on those stages. So, 45 we're going to complete. 46 sees us beginning work on the nacelles. And we're going to talk a little bit more when we get to stage 46 about how we're going to approach building the nacelles as, of course, our modded build series is going to continue. I, of course, am following along with myenterprisedcom. I am doing as many of the mods that Marvel Phoenix Todd has done, and putting my own take on a couple of them. But one of the ones I am going to be copying almost in entirety is going to be the nacelle mod. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get to the end of stage 46, as we're going to start collecting parts again and waiting until we get all of our parts before really moving forward with our build. So let's go ahead and get on to stage 45 and getting our second PCB installed. All right, so here's stage 45. Let's go ahead and get the rest of our package opened. Although I got to say that at this point, I'm going to kind of consider like this whole process. I'm really digging into these packages and doing a bunch of work beforehand. But it is kind of fun to say, hey, I'm not going to use these windows anymore. So let's go ahead and just get the package opened. Although I will say I might keep it together because I do keep all of my stages. I recommend when you're building these Partwork models to have a system in place for storage, because you are not going to be building everything. You're not going to get a package and assemble all of the pieces. You're going to be doing things. And if you're modding the model like me, well, guess what? You're going to be grabbing things from ahead, pulling them out. Like it's just kind of nuts. But what I like to do is leave these inside their packages because, it's one of those things where it's easier for me just to keep it in the Fanhome box if I'm being real. So, and they stay together and they're nice, and you don't have to have a real special way of doing it, but it does work for me. Now, for sake of reference, we are going to be wearing gloves. I am going to be wearing gloves. I say we. It's really just me now at this point. And Align in the Stars did start with 2 guys, but now it's going to be 2 guys, 1 model. Oh, boy. Anyway, so moving on, I am going to be working on... I got myself all frazzled. Anyway, I can't believe I actually said that on camera. Anyway, so we're going to move on. I am going to be wearing gloves. There we are. I'm going to be wearing gloves while handling this PCB. I know it's not super necessary, but I don't want to get any of these Lincoln Log finger grease fingerprints on here. And we are going to make sure we're taking special care, along with using a little square of electrical tape right here to cover up one of our leads. And it's going to be right over here. It's not a lead, but I forget what it's called. Hold on. Let me go and take a look. Scroll down here to the bottom of the screen. And it's called a trace. See, wow. Todd was noting, Marvel Phoenix was noting when he was putting this screw assembly or putting this PCB in place, the screw comes suspiciously close to this trace on the board. And even though there's a coating on there, it could cause the boards to short out. And I know that these boards are notorious for shorting out, so I'm taking whatever precautions I can to make sure I'm protecting it, including wearing gloves when I'm going to be handling it. And now that the easy part, or the hard part's out, let's go ahead and get everything else out. Get our package off to the side here. So here's our reflector, and then here's our whole panel. And I gotta say, this whole panel is the worst one that I've done. I was resining these super late at night, and what happened on the bottom row was I didn't put the UV tape on there all the way correctly. And right underneath my thumb, right here, you can see those clouded dark windows. Those are supposed to be darkened, but the problem is the paint bled, and had to go through with some of the administratum gray, and it just turned into a bit of a nightmare. And as you can see, I've taken some of that, the beauty of this whole panel off. It's fine. I'm not really that worried about it. I will actually, each model is a story, right? And with this is a story that's going to be told over time. And for me, this whole panel is going to be a reference and a reminder that I need to take my time and be more careful. And don't resin right before you're going to bed. Even if you're on stream and you're tired, if you come to a point where you're just don't want to do resin windows anymore, stop. You do not want to be careless, and you don't want to take the shortcut with doing this. I did that here, and I'm paying for it, so it's totally fine. But this panel did kind of take a bit of a hit. As per usual, as I like to say, this was in these panels. I gotta say, these ones without any of the escape pods, they're heavy. There's tons of these to do, and it would have been a ton of these windows. But guess what? I don't have to do with these. Anything. Let's set them up to the side. Now, we have some BM screws, AM screws, FM screws. They're also giving us some little pieces of tape here. I'm not quite sure. I wonder if they're actually interesting. I wonder if they're actually giving us these. Might actually have to look at the instructions. I wonder if it's supposed to just replicate and replace that as we go along. These are going to be part of the nacelles, and these are some of the reflectors. We are not going to be using these, and we'll talk about that when we get to the next stage. But I'm going to set these off to the side. I'm going to start collecting parts that I'm not using, and then I'm going to be putting them up on Facebook if anybody needs replacement parts or anything like that. I'm going to start collecting these because I don't want this stuff. Once this model's done, I'm not going to want all of these extra big parts. I'll definitely want to be parting with those. See what I did there? Very nice. We have some of our zip ties, which we're going to need. And we have our LED. We also have some BP screws. So there's going to be a lot of screws here. So let's go ahead and get all of our screws out. And then before we get started, I'm going to need to go grab some gloves. Let me get these out, go grab some gloves, and I will be right back. 2x2 hands of blue. Oh, they kind of wash out and they match my mat. That's kind of interesting. 2x2 hands of blue. What TV show? That is going to be today's trivia question. 2x2 hands of blue. This is definitely not a Star Trek question, but a sci-fi question. What TV show do you hear the phrase 2x2 hands of blue? All right. So I was thinking about that, and I've made reference to it before, but it was kind of like an odd reference. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and split out our LED a little bit here. And the beauty of this is, like, once again, I will keep referencing it, and this is just what the back of our panel looks like. I did choose to also color a couple of these windows because this needed a little bit of something to draw attention to. I should not have done that. But the beauty of the way we do this is I can take my LEDs, set them in here like this, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And it seems like today it's not, and that's fine. What I'm going to do is I could just set this across the top, just like that. And when you have those windows in there, that would literally just be an absolute travesty for you to do. So we're going to go ahead and fit our LED into its spot right here. There's a little, if you guys can pick it up, right where the LED slots in, you see that little lug? It basically grabs the middle of the wire right here. And if it sits in properly, it's going to grab, and so you can't pull it out. What I was experiencing earlier on in the model is they didn't have those lugs, or they weren't as pronounced, and so it was harder to keep these LEDs kept in place. So go ahead and get that put in place. Make sure this is actually like sitting in there properly. Get it into its channel. There we go. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Split that LED out a little bit further. This one's a little bit deeper of a channel. There we go. And as you can see there, we have one of those notches where we can, where we're going to be pulling up. All right. Then we're going to secure this in place with 3 BP screws. So I'm getting these onto my work mat these days. It is getting, now that I'm really focusing on magnetizing my screwdrivers, it is getting really difficult. And now that I have a 3D printer arriving as of recording this morning, I'm going to start printing out little trays for these. I have an idea for something for this very purpose. I can't wait for that 3D printer. Gonna be a game changer. All right, let's grab our last BP. Get it put down into place. Get that other one back into its holder. And let's get our LEDs kind of tucked away. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bend up on this one, just like that. And then we're going to bend up on this one, just like that. Okay? Perfect. Set our PCB off to the side here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to need to grab our saucer section. And when we do, one of the things that Todd noticed is that this wire, this LED, let me just bring this up close. Per the instructions in the previous stage, this LED was routed up through here, when you can see that there's a little hole, or not a hole, but like a half circle right here. That is where this LED and the one that we're about to connect over on this side are supposed to route up. So what we need to do, set this down very carefully, is we are going to need to remove this screw, and then this screw, and this screw. Oof, this is going to be a bit of a pain, isn't it? I'm like, oh, we're going to need to remove this screw, and that screw, and this screw, and I'm like, oh no. Where are all of these plugged in? Oh, yeah, they're all plugged in correctly, too. Can I get away with that? Oof. Okay, no, I cannot. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of rerouting this LED real quick, and I will be right back. This is going to be a tedious process, and I don't want to waste time doing that, so I will be right back. All right, well, that was a pain in the ass. if I'm being real. But it's done, and the problem with it is that this piece goes on first. This whole panel goes on first, and then so U216A goes on before U203, and so I had to like kind of pop it out, and then getting it back in was actually the hard part. I say that getting the LED out while it's kind of partially sitting out was the hard part. This was really hard. But it's done, so damn it, let's move on, shall we? All right, so I had a bunch of CP screws. Okay. I know we have an extra one here, so I'm going to go ahead and just leave that sitting over there. Let's go ahead and now run this up through here, and let's see how all that fits now. Yeah, no, it fits better. I can just tell right now because it's sitting in its spot properly. I can see the mounting points, and it's sitting flush with the panel next to it. Okay, so this is a bit fiddly. I'm feeling like the gap in between my fingers here. I'm going to get the screw started. And then I'm going to get the other side started. That way I can kind of manipulate this. Oh, just the one side. Get that screw off of there. There we go. This is a bit of a tricky hull panel. And Todd was mentioning in the instructions that this one does sit up a little higher. And that's likely going to be corrected with the ring, the sensor band ring that goes around the outside of the saucer. Okay. This lug hole, man, this is a challenging piece. Probably just because of those LEDs, but man, this is... Oh, this model used to be easy. Ian, I know what you're going to say. Getting the screw put into place here has been... There we go. How is that fitting? It doesn't feel like it's fitting right. It's not. Man, this panel is a bit of a beast. Get this taken out and put back in. I'm going to get this adjusted, and I will be right back. Okay, I think I got it. I'm using the 2 screwdriver method where I have two screws loaded up. This is a pain in the ass piece. I got to be honest. But I think I got it. I'm still not super pleased with that fitment there. But it's smooth. There's just a little bit of a pop-up right here, but I can kind of push down on it. And I guarantee you when we get this next panel put on right here, that should help cinch that down. But that was a bit of a beast of a piece. Oh. Okay, man, that was something. Let me tell you. Let's make sure both of those are put into place, secured down properly, and they are indeed now. Okay, so now what we're gonna do. Wonderful, Jordan. What'd you do with that little cable? I'm looking for a cable, and I don't. Oh, Jordan. So what I've done is, in all of everything that I've been, all the mods, have a good system, I say. What I have done is lost my connector, my JST connector that connects the 2 PCBs. Now, thankfully, I have a set of JST connectors that I can create, so I will go ahead and do so off screen here in a moment. So let's go ahead and move on. Man, when you're modding this, once again, like I said, take your time and get this right. So what what we're going to go ahead and do is grab our PCB. And first things first, what we're going to do is we are going to, yep, you can definitely tell. So if you look there, right near each one of the screw holes, there's going to, it gets real close to the trace, and specifically this one right here. So what we're going to do is, I think they provided us with a piece of tape, but I'm going to go ahead and just use the one that I created, as it has a little bit better of a backing. I'm just going to create a little square, just like so. And without touching the metal to that, I am going to take a piece of tape and just cover up that trace. Got a pair of tweezers here. Trying to touch too many things. But I'm going to cover up that trace right near where the screw might come in contact. Just like that. And this is a known problem with this ship for the boards to burn out, and this is definitely something that can help with keeping that process down. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, and there's going to be 3 PCBs in here. We're going to have 1, 2, and then 3. This one fits into place right here. And we're only going to be securing this in place with 2 FM screws, as we are going to be having to take this off again at some point here in the coming month, so we can install the bridge. But that's another mod that's going to happen here soon too. So we're going to go ahead and secure this in place with 2 FM screws. And as a reminder, I'm just going to go ahead and pull these out, to use your 3-in-1 oil for any screws going into metal. You just need just a little bit. I needed to get a new solvent pump, as mine is officially done for. Okay, so I'm going to very carefully and gently screw this into place. There we go. Grab our other FM screw. And it didn't feel like I needed too much encouragement there, so I'm going to go ahead and just not put any oil on there. All right, there we are. So our second PCB is put into place. Very cool. And where that in and out is going to go, so it's going to be right here to here. I'm going to need to create a small JST connector. Let's see if I have one created already. Well, oh no. I thought I did. This is a male to a female end, so I'll need to create a new JST. No worries, I'll take care of that here off camera. And we will test in the next episode, as that takes a little bit of time to be able to weld, not weld, but solder those together properly. All right, next up, we're going to go ahead and start connecting all of our wires. And so what I'm going to do is find my panels here. Oh. Nice. I see what the problem was here. So U315 is this set of LEDs right here. Oh, I see. Wow, Jordan. This is going to go over here. U316. Wow, Jordan. I remember saying, like, I don't know. Like, when I was connecting all the wires up, I was like, I don't know. The U316. U107, which is going to be U107. Where are you? U107, you're right here. Okay, yeah. There we go. I'm just going through and U208. Ah, I see. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Wow, Jordan, you really did some things here, didn't you? And then U317. Okay. So we have, not that one. These four, or five. We should have five. Where's the five? There we are. These five are going to need to go into, where are you? So starting from the fifth one in, and I know which one that one's going to be. It's going to be this bad boy. Fifth one in. Going to go underneath this wire. Oh my goodness. I was curious about that. Going to go in just like, oh. It's like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. What did I do with this one? Oh, I see what I did with that one. Yeah, I'm seeing all sorts of little mistakes that I've made in routing wires and okay. This one somehow made its way underneath the whole panel, and it shouldn't have. Let's see if I can grab it and pull it out. There we go. There we go. That's much better. Okay. So, outside of this 2-pin connector right here, these are all, so we have 5. All right. So it doesn't really matter where it goes. We can just start at any one of the points here. And God, the spaghetti. The spaghetti. All right, so the shortest needs 2. It's still going to be that one, but it's going to go in much easier here. The shortest is going to start here. There we go. And then the next shortest. Then from there, they're all about the same size, but there's one a little bit shorter. Okay. Go. We're going to do this one. And then that one. Okay. There we go. And that is what that looks like. Very good. So now that all of those are coming in, and this one is a 2-pin. Is this one plugged in anywhere already? It should be. Oh no. Where does this one go? Oh, I was wondering if I was missing one before, and I have figured out where that's gone. Very nice. There we go. That's going to go right here. I was like, wait, is there something missing? There it is. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I want to try to keep as low of a profile with these wires as possible. So I'm going to start running some zip ties up. And then this one I'm going to tuck down into between this channel here, between some frame pieces. That seems like a natural place for that to want to run through. All the wires that are coming over from this side. Get bundled up right about here. Oh. And the rest should just be able to tuck down. Now we have a little bit of a mess over here. Let's get all this nicely tidied up right now. All right. Well, there's our cable management taken care of. Fantastic. Get these trimmed off carefully. And when everything's said and done, before we cinch up the bottom, or before we start like moving on some of these other panels, I'll make sure to do a little bit nicer of a job in some areas where it's gotten a little bit messy. Okay, so now, well, it's been a lot. Thankfully, the next stage is just going to be assembling one panel. I say that, this has been a bit of a challenge. All right, so I need to find U303. I see. And then U302, I'm assuming. U302. Nope, this is going to go into the final PCB. Very nice, I see. So U3, these are going to go there. I see. Okay. U303 there. We're going to need to find U201, which is going to be this one here. So we got U201. There we go. Then I'm assuming it's going to be U304. Make sure you get these all out from underneath each other. U304. And then U202, I'm assuming. Yep. And U305. Yep. We should be gathering up 6 of these. And U102. Yep. That's 2, 4, 6. There we go. So I was correct in my assumption there. So this is all going to run through this channel right here. So I'm going to be very careful in how I'm running my wires. There we go. Do a little bit cleaner of a job there. Very good. Now let's make sure they're all detangled from each other. Now these ones are going to go into these last 6. Right? Yep. So let's grab our shortest first. It's going to be this one. I need to be a little bit more judicious. I'm going to try to take a little bit more time here. Make sure my wires aren't all running through each other. There we are. There we are. Everything routed properly there. There we go. I was doing some messy things over on the other side that I wasn't happy with. Okay. So let's start with this one here. And then these two start. Okay. So this one starts. Make sure I was checking my polarity there. There we are. Grab our next shortest, which is going to be this one. Then this one. And this one. And this one. Then what we're going to do is we're going to grab the one. Oh, got that backwards there. Almost screwed that up. Then what we're also going to do is we're going to grab this wire that is connected to U302. And it is also going to make its way over there, but we are not going to be connecting it right now. We're just going to leave that off to the side. There we go. Very nice. Okay. Let's grab some zip ties and get these all cleaned up. So I'm going to go ahead and start right here. Very nice. There we go, right before we pass through the frame. go. And go. Make sure that LED is coming back far enough there. There we go. And that should be good enough for that. The front side. Then I'm just going to run one right here. Some of these wires are a bit of a stretch. But we'll get that right here. Very good. Excellent news. All right, get that one clipped off. And I still need to create that JST that will connect between the two, and I will take care of that in between episodes. So I thought this was going to be an easy episode today, my friends, but with this model, nothing is ever easy. So let's move on to stage 46. All right, so here's stage 46. Let's go ahead and get moving quickly, shall we? I've been recording for an hour and I was like, oh my God. Okay, so a couple things to know. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, we are not doing anything with the stock nacelle parts. Didn't even open this bottom piece here. Good job, Jordan. As this LED that they give us, there's going to be hot spots because there's not very many LEDs on here, and it just looks like ass. So we're going to set that off to the side. In the coming episodes, as soon as I have all the parts, I think it's right around stage 55, 56, maybe 54, somewhere in that neighborhood, we are going to have all of the parts for the nacelles, or the nacelle. We're going to wait till all of that's in place, and then we're going to complete the nacelle mod, which I did way back at the beginning of May. So that's what's going to wind up happening there. So for this stage, really fairly simple stage, as we are just going to grab our panels, our windows that we're not going to use. I do love saying that. And then we're going to grab all of the rest of our stuff out, our LED and some screws. Okay. Now, let's get our screws out. Got some more CP screws. Probably more than we need, actually, but that's totally fine. And some BP screws. Also probably more than we need. And as that has been the case for both of these stages, which is kind of curious to me. Okay. So now what we're going to do is just the typical, here's our window pattern. We went ahead and got our escape pod covers already installed, and that's what the back of that looks like. This panel goes on just like this, and let's go ahead and split out our LEDs, get them installed. Very good. Very good. Nice. And then we're going to go ahead and secure these into place with 3 BP screws. Let's grab our BPs. Grab 3 or 2, whatever. There we go. No, I grabbed a PH1 too, so probably the biggest screwdriver for the small screws. That's how this works. There's a meme about that, but I'm not going to mention it. And one more BP. Excellent. Then, like in previous stages, we're going to need to go ahead and bend up. Oh, there we go. Bend up on the LED. Was that not wanting to sit in place? There we go. And bend up on the LED. So get them fit into place just like that. Now let's go ahead and bring back our saucer. And this is a fairly simple installation. Like I said, this stage is likely going to move a little bit quicker. So we are going to go ahead and bring back our saucer section. And we are going to go ahead and install by running up the wires through this channel right here. And then, very simply, please be very simply. Please be very simply. So I'm noticing there's a bit of an LED channel here. So I'm going to go ahead and pop out my LED here real quick. Route that through this channel. Now that I'm starting to see how this is working a little bit here. And there's a bit of a gap in between these two panels, which I've not seen before, but it seems to be compensated for. You got to run that up first through the panel. And these LEDs seem to be having a bit of a problem staying in this panel. Wonder why. So I am going to tape them in place using the two pieces of tape they gave us. In the previous stage, I'm sure that's not what they meant that to do. But that is what we are going to do to get them to stay in place. Just like that. So what we're going to do is we now run this wire up through, pull it all the way up and through, push this LED down into this channel, connect it back up, grab our tape for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. Get just that slightly taped in place. I'm not sure why that is, like I said. There we are. Now, yep, that's exactly it. We're going to go ahead and secure this in place with two CP screws. There we go. Not at once, though, Jordan. Ah, that was almost smooth. There we go. Then I immediately pull it off. All right, so there it is. And are we going to actually hook this up into the PCB? We are. So we're going to start routing, and I can tell we're going to start routing some new wires through this way. So this one is going to hook up right behind the slot that we are all the ones that we just installed right there. So there it goes. We'll just go ahead and get that set in like that. And we'll turn it over and review the work. There it is. There are the two panels that we installed today, and we're starting to really make some progress towards sweeping up towards the other end of this model. I've got all of the pieces up through here, basically, so we're getting pretty close. Oh, buddy, this was a challenging couple of stages to build, thanks to the PCB and that whole panel that we had to remove here in order to get this put into place. And so, oh, buddy, like I said, we're going to be doing in the coming episodes. We got a couple of mods coming up, and so we'll talk more about the mods in the next episode. But just say we have very cool things happening with the nacelles. So that's what I got for you today, and I just want to say thank you. I know that there was a million things you could have done today. Instead, you spent a couple minutes with me watching me build a model, and I think that's pretty damn cool. You guys have any questions or comments, tips, tricks, please leave them down below. Like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. And my friends, until we see each other again, I hope you all have a wonderful day in this beautiful world wherever you happen to be. And just remember, my friends, to always live long, prosper.